Today I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the Scottish Cyber Assessment Service. This is a new tool that we've been developing over the past couple of years, and we're just beginning to get to the point of launching it. But just to give you a wee bit of background as to why we think this is necessary. Okay? You might be wondering, and don't worry if this is hard to read in places, you might be wondering why you need to be concerned about cyber security and resilience. Many of the organisations I speak to, particularly the smaller ones, do think, why would I be attacked? Nobody would be interested in me. Doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, if you rely on internet-connected services, digital services, products, for delivering your business objectives, then really you are at risk. And I say that because many of the cyber attacks we've seen in recent years have been untargeted. So things like WannaCry, never intended to hit the NHS, just happened to do so because of their cyber resilience, cyber security posture at the time. And actually, really it's more about cyber hygiene in their case, where a lack of routine patching caused the problems. And that's a common thread through a lot of the cyber attacks that you will have heard of over the years. Quite a lot of them tend to be on smaller bodies getting hit unexpectedly and having unexpected experiences. Chances are cyber attackers, if they hit your organisation, they'll never have heard of it, and will only know about it when they're inside your network. Okay? And that's the point at which they really go to town and start trying to work out who you're connected to and what you're doing and what they can use over you to get money out of you. Now, the Scottish Government believes that for this reason, it's vital that all business and charities in Scotland understand the cyber threat and prepare to take actions to mitigate against it. So we've been working, particularly public, private and third sector action plans over the last few years to ensure that we move in that direction. Supply chain, you might well be targeted as a route to a larger organisation as well. So we've seen this too, where actually you are targeted. People know that you supply a specific large public sector body and decide that it's worthwhile trying to attack you to get to them, to use your access to their networks or your access to their information to attack them. We believe that we need to secure this supply chain for the public sector for a multitude of reasons. But generally speaking, we believe that we have to prevent public services from being disrupted. Okay? We want to support our suppliers to improve their cyber security because it's a good and sensible thing to do for the wider society and actually for the digital economy. It's actually a really, really important aspect of it. Cyber security needs to not be seen as a barrier to doing things differently in the digital sphere. It needs to be seen as an enabler to actually ensure that we can take forward safe and secure public services that people are confident in using and are assured of its security in handling their information and details. Okay? To do this, the angle we're coming at this from is stepping into the procurement world as an initial foray into this. So we have in development a Scottish Cyber Assessment Service. Okay? Now this would be a sort of decision-making support tool, if you like, for the public sector buyers. It would provide a more consistent approach to supply chain security. Okay, we have a guidance note that we'll publish later in the month, hopefully, for the public sector, setting out best practice from the National Cyber Security Centre, and ensuring that the measures that we take in the public sector are fit for purpose and will secure our supply chain cyber security going forward. We want suppliers to improve their supply security to ensure that they're not used as a route to get to us. Now, the tool, SCAS, if you will, the Scottish Cyber Assessment Service, will basically allow suppliers to sense check their own cyber security posture and feed it into the procurement process. Okay? Now, what you might well see in the next few months is a service that looks something very, very similar to the one on the screen there. This is just a landing page of the beta version at the moment. What you'll find in the procurement process is punch out through the supplier journey and through the contracts that you're involved in to this service. How does it work behind the scenes? Quick run through of that. What you're going to see is public sector using this tool, hopefully, all going well, to risk assess their contracts while they're doing the procurement strategy. Whoa. Okay. As part of that process, they will put in details of their contracts into our tool. Basically details of what sort of data they would be sharing with the suppliers, or what sort of access they're giving to suppliers, whether they're using cloud services, whether they're handling very, very special category data, type material or government secure data would be the other options. And this will generate a cyber risk profile for the contract for the buyer to use. Aligned to that profile will be a supplier assurance questionnaire and a set of questions that goes with it. That set of questions should be proportionate to the risk involved in the contract. What we've found in the past at the moment is a lot of public sector bodies working in roughly the same contracts asking a hugely different set of questions. Now, I'm talking, in one particular case I saw one local authority issue a set of questions that was 3/4 of a page long, and another council put out a contract for basically the same services that was over 20 pages in length. I want to ensure that we drive the consistency through that approach so that you as suppliers know what you're getting. You know the questions that are going to be coming, you know roughly the risk involved in what you're handling and understand it, and that you're prepared to answer the questions and give the assurances necessary to the public sector to ensure that they are doing everything they can do. Because this will become part of the audit process at some point in the near future. They will have to justify what they have done to relatively effectively assure their own supply chains. After the buyer's done their bit in the system and generated their risk assessment reference number as part of that process, they will put it into the tender documents, so the invitation to tender and the pack that goes with that for suppliers to actually use in the tender process. The US suppliers would then be able to log into the tool, complete the questions, download a lovely report which gives you a good overview of how your cybersecurity posture is currently stacking up against contracts of that type, and you'd be able to submit that with your tender documents. Okay. Now, following on from that, once you submit your answers back into the centre, public sector organisations will then be able to assess the answers provided as part of the evaluation of the tenders, largely as they do just now for the questions that you might already be being asked. But it should make it a lot more efficient for them too, because they'll have nice reports that highlight where you stack up or where you don't stack up against what they were expecting. And we hope that this tool will help you as suppliers sort of manage the burden in a couple of different ways. You'll get consistent questions. You'll know the questions are coming, which I say, it seems to be quite a large problem. And the other side of it is we'll let you reuse your answers to the questions. So if you log into the tool and answer the questions once for a given risk profile, you'll be able to actually heal them out again for the next contract that's of a similar level. You'll have to sense check them as part of the tender process, of course, and make sure your commitment to the assurances that you're given are correct, but at least they'll be pre-populated for you to use again. So I hope that will take the burden off of you, because understand that small bodies, it's not always easy to find the time and resource to fill in these vastly complicated questionnaires. I'm keen to drive the consistency and ensure you can reuse your answers. This is a very big and complicated diagram. Don't worry about it. What it basically says is that the question sets that you can expect to see are aligned with a series of cybersecurity standards. Okay? Now, at the very, very bottom of that scale is there's not really much of a risk, and you can be just expected to use the good and sensible guidance from NCSC, the National Cyber Security Centre, which is the authoritative source of advice to the UK business, private sector and third sector as well, and public sector. Once you step up into a little bit more risky data, you might start seeing a sort of very low risk profile, and getting asked questions that tie in with the small business guide itself from NCSC. Again, light touch, just the basics, should see you in good place with your digital hygiene. Once you get up to the sort of low risk profile, you start seeing questions about cyber essentials controls. This is basically 5 very, very basic, and there's plenty of information in my stand outside if you want to delve into it, but very, very basic firewalls, antivirus, basic assurances that these things are in place, a bit about access control and secure configuration, but sounds very technical, it's not really. Once you get up to the moderate risk profiles, when you really get into the meat of this, when you start seeing data, personal data being shifted about, or lots of data being shifted about, or more sensitive data being shifted about, We start asking questions about your GDPR requirements, your controls in place to ensure them. We start asking questions about the National Cyber Security Centre's 10 steps to cyber security. Oops, heavy-handed. And once you step up to the very, very top of this and we start dealing with really sensitive material, special category personnel data, you start seeing questions from the Network Information Systems Regulations and ISO 27001. So this is very, very top-end stuff. A lot of the larger businesses will have elements of this in place already, but as a public sector, we're beginning to think about our suppliers really beginning to need to demonstrate their assurances of these things to handle our data or access our systems. So that's really just to say where the questions are coming from and why they are as they are, why they're aligned to the details that we've got at the moment, and what you can expect. If you're looking for an advanced preview of these questions, that's where you'll find them. What I should say as well is if you don't meet the current requirements, in fact, I'll jump to the next slide. If you don't meet the current requirements, we're not excluding you from the bidding process. Nothing could be further from our way of thinking. We want to bring you along on the journey. So if the report comes out after you answer your questions in our tool to say that you don't quite meet the minimum standards for a contract as we would expect, two things happen. You get a chance to submit a cyber implementation plan, basically a statement of how you would propose to improve your cyber security by a future date, usually perhaps the contract commencement date. And I've got a little overview of this template on the stand outside as well, if you want to look at what it looks like. And we'll give you the template as part of the system so you can take it away and fill it in and make your assurances and submit that with the bid. And we also really want to help you get there. So there are measures out there that will help you get assistance with this. Not just National Cyber Security Centre or your local business gateway, but actually looking through to voucher schemes as well that can help you get cyber essentials if that's the kind of direction of travel. We're keen to ensure that we pull everyone along in this journey to cyber security because it really benefits the entire society for the Scottish Government. We're keen to position the public sector at the forefront of cyber security and have it be the exemplar and lead the way. But we need you guys to come with us on that journey to make sure that we can all be as safe as we can be. Okay? And I think the only other thing I'll say is that the National Cyber Security Centre website is a very, very good starting point. If you're interested in cyber security, if you're looking to try and get more information on any aspect of this, their website has a wonderful user journey approach to it, whether you're a small business, a larger business, or a highly experienced cybersecurity contractor. You can go in there and find out where you should be going with things. In terms of our system, look out for it. It's likely to launch at the end of the month, hopefully. Touch wood, or plastic in this case. You'll likely see it start to filter through the tenders in the next couple of months. Reference to the Scottish Cyber Assessment Service and call-outs to our system. If you do have any feedback on it, any comments or concerns, please get in touch. Details are up on the board and you'll find them again out on the stand, and where you'll find me loitering as well, trying to answer questions. We're keen that this is basically a beta test of this system over the next 6 months. My job after this event is to go out and start the procurement after I've risk assessed it using my own tool for the next iteration of this tool going forward to make it more sustainable and build in some of the feedback from this test phase. So I'm keen to hear feedback from the small organisations as well as the larger ones as to how this works for them. Does it work for them? Are there limitations on its use? Are there scenarios and contracts that pop out of the woodwork that just doesn't quite fit with this? Okay, so any feedback at all, I'm keen to hoover that up too. And I think if you do have any questions, you'll find me out in the stand outside afterwards. And I think I'll kill it at that, Gillian. Thank you very much.